To me, Invasion Stanford is about a lot of very selfish people doing very selfish things, no matter what the cost.
Well, I think to most people in the dorm now, I'm like the guy who's making that film. In your dorm? Like that. That's probably why. They want to maintain control over their own artistic creations. Okay, fine.
Well, don't you?
To some extent, though, but I'm going to give XTV permission to show this whenever they like.
Oh, really?
Certainly.
No,
After
you may
I'm
not
gone.
show this.
Well, I could say that, because no, it's mine. No, but no, I can't really, because they give
Then
me all
you
the
would be
equipment.
proving that it's your own personal project.
Exactly.
Less than 3 hours till the amazing premiere. Part 1 of...
Yeah, the premiere. I hope you're right. I hope people aren't expecting to see the whole thing. That'll be funny. Tune in next week, and next quarter for that matter. It would be really cruel to put a cliffhanger on episode 2. Yeah, we'll just make one up. We'll just shoot another scene now.
looks like Andy Jacob getting shot.
That's right.
The door gets kicked down and the shadowy figure goes...
We'll put it at the end of the credits. There's a knock on the door. Come in.
To be continued.
To be continued. Oh, God.
Is it finished yet? Is it amazing?
No, I didn't make it loud enough.
No. He's putting the final touches on the first episode.
The final touches?
Yeah, he's putting... God, what is he putting in? He's putting in satellite sound effects for the Radio Australia. Well, I have to go delay him so he doesn't pop out. Are you done yet? Is it amazing?
Relax, man.
Wait, is this it though?
Well, no, I have a couple other sound effects planned.
Oh man.
Come in, SIS Vorax of the planet Zydrax. This is a Priority 1 military reconnaissance call.
Yeah.
Stardust, and that's what the field force.
You're wasting our time. Let's go.
I have to be there?
Is this a ship from fleet of the...
No, no.
What, I have to be there?
Zydrax?
Be there too.
But...
Hey, I can record another XTV meeting. This will be cool. The one that happens on the... It's kind of dark in here, isn't it? Here. Party can start. Hi guys. Yeah. Yeah, read the cards.
No. Hey, you.
Hey, you.
This is the cake of success.
Yeah. You weren't
What's this for?
This?
Yeah, I
This
know.
filming?
Yeah.
For the making of.
There's a making of?
There will be.
It's not easy, but we're doing the best that we can. It's not easy to understand.
This was 86.
This is Matthew Brockoff. I'm the one that always gets interviewed. Okay, and I think this film has like everything it needs: action, excitement.
An 8mm
everything
film is very
but sex.
small, as you know. There's the space panel. Boom, boom, boom. Pen scratching. Some smoke bombs in the foreground always. Those were tedious to set up, actually, so we took a lot of time to make this work. Acting. But I come back and I still kill him, and then he's like obliterated.
This must be the house.
Okay, here's like the first, after the space battle sequence, this is the first like real film we shot. It's called House. And it's essentially based around 3 or 4 sight gags that Matt had developed on his own. What you see is what we did. This is a little shocking for some people because they didn't know that was like a dummy at first. We did do some overdubbing, so any voice like that is overdubbed, but it's not very well. I always like this bit because this is good editing right here. Womp womp womp. You can't tell. It's pretty seamless. I find that very disturbing.
This is Martin. That's Martin.
There's Martin Roberts, our British friend, who suddenly decided, after 3 months of hanging out with us, that we were too geeky to hang out with. And for him, Doctor Who was just something that was always on, you know, ever since he was born. And for us, it was this new thing, and we were into it. And
That's very good. Could you do dishes a day?
And as you can see, we were clearly still pretty dorky, and I'm very embarrassed about this, but I'm watching it anyway. Who's time? Okay, here's Morons at the Wheel, which is us making fun of ourselves, which I think is actually quite a classy move. We realized how far we'd gone, and we decided it had to end.
And I'm Matt. And I'm Mike. And we're here to bring you the new hit movie of the Christmas season.
It's Bob the Family Show.
That's right.
That's us.
That's
Family Show production in association with my favorite credit, Womb.
Good idea.
What I find really sad now looking at this stuff is that we're clearly, I mean, there's so many great, like the guys who made South Park and the band Ween, there's sort of like 2 people who were like partners ever since they were kids that went on to do things, and that's clearly like the evolution we were moving towards, except that, you know, it just wasn't going to happen for obvious reasons.
What's the most interesting thing that's ever happened to you?
The most interesting thing
This was done right before Stanford, the Invasion Stanford.
would be the time that I lost my memory.
And this was all like scripted by me. So you see some of the dialogue styles that come from my style of writing.
Were you a stranger in a strange land?
No. I could have been out for hours.
Days, weeks, minutes. I had no idea. This is all my writing. I wrote the whole script. The idea was to do a film as your final kind of thing in this class. And I made sure everyone knew damn well that this was a real film.
Just how wretched and meaningless that my life really is. I mean,
It was essentially the last film that Matt and I
just
collaborated on.
how sad.
I see.
I think I felt this at the moment. It was kind of sad.
Stanford University. To him, it was a metaphor for the decay of liberal values. Each classroom represented another dark chamber in the twisted corridors of the human psyche. What it was not was a place to write a short film.
This Matt person and...
This Matt person, oh, I don't know. I know him at all. Don't know who he is. He hung around on the set sometimes, you know, but didn't do much. He thought he was this big shot director or something. And...
Look, you go to Spielberg and you tell the weasel brain, I don't care how many 14-year-olds you put in this film, the teeny boppers are just not going to understand dark comedy.
He thought, you know, oh, yeah, I wrote this script. I mean, he's such a plagiarist. He took it all from Charles Dickens.
The original idea of this show came about in a phone conversation.
He said that. Well, look, at least I didn't put the word penis into a remake of The Cat from Outer Space just to get a PG rating. Yeah, you can
He was griping about some people out there. I mean, it's not that he had trouble with people. It's just that these people tended to get on his nerves a tad.
When Matt was a pro-throw,
Elliot had been his host. And somehow they didn't get along, and Elliot, like, packed him off, like said, oh, you're going to this meeting? Well, it's over here. And sent him to the wrong side of campus, or locked him out of the room, or something like this.
Not always an asshole, but sometimes you gotta play hardball to get things done right.
I don't quite know how the whole thing got, like, full bloom of, like, one of these relationship things. But I think it started when Matt was a pro.
You know, he just has a tendency to gripe about things like that, so things were getting under his skin, I guess, in certain people. And he wanted to do something that would be kind of a satire on Stanford people and the way they were. And he could do a show on XTV.
We were sitting around the table one day, and XTV was one of those meetings, and Matthew said, oh, you know, by the way, I have this show coming out, and I said, fine, can I direct it? He looked at me like, excuse me, babe, but I'm directing it. So he said, well, no, you can't direct it, you can assistant direct it. So I said, fine. And it was because it was fictional, because it was a whole unified, complex piece.
I remember talking about doing like a soap opera show where everyone was kind of a stereotype. I don't remember if it was, at the time, if we had seen this show, A Very Peculiar Practice, which is a British television show, which is sort of like that. It's kind of a soap opera show with all these stereotype characters and outrageous stories going on.
Really, Lowlands is still the same peaceful academic haven it's always been.
I don't know if we'd seen it at the time, but it was originally kind of supposed to be kind of a soap opera, and then somehow it got to the point where, well, it has to have a gimmick.
You know, thousands of people come up to me every 10 years or so, and at least 1% of those people ask me, Matthew, what is this Invasion Stanford thing? Well, let me tell you what Invasion Stanford's all about.
Somehow, it got to the idea of having aliens come down from outer space.
Invasion Stanford is about two alien janitors from the planet Zydrox who get stranded at Stanford and they impersonate two otherwise ordinary, typical Stanford freshmen. It's a comedy.
Which, of course, you know, the quintessential outsiders, you know, they don't understand anything. So there was, you know, free reign to sort of satirize all of that. You know, satirize the science fiction aspect of it and the social aspect of it, the whole thing. So, we talked about it and we planned out the first episode as if we were going to write it together, and we had started writing the first few scenes I had written with him. But then it got to a point where it's too much about Stanford, and I don't go there. So I just sort of dropped back and he took over. Line for line, it's really not me writing, it's Matt. You know, all those jokes aren't mine. Sometimes, thankfully.
It means the people of this planet will be easier to rule than a flock of retarded sheep.
Flock of Retarded Sheep, by the way, is one of the funniest things Matt ever wrote. The best kind of humor he wrote was this sort of serious melodrama, and when he tried to actually write a one-liner, it was really bad.
In my involvement in the writing of the show is like, you know, maybe the odd suggestion I might have given him here and there. Like the good and evil chess match.
We played for the ultimate.
When I was writing, you know, I wrote the script and I had the whole thing finished. I mean, I think back on it now, but at the time I was like, no, this is cool, I can do this, this can work, you know? And now I look back on it, and the script is so absurd. You know, the premise is, like, ridiculous, and the plot, I mean, deliberately, mind you, like, almost goes nowhere, you know? It leads to so much and then leads to nothing.
That's it? I thought something important was going to happen.
And it's deliberately that way. I mean, that's the point of the show. And yet, on the whole, you look at it and you say, how could I have had faith in this?
I had completely missed the first auditions. I played a geek in Gaieties '88. If anyone remembers Gaieties '88, remember the petitioner.
Have you considered going to the undergraduate Invasion Center? What's that? It's a bureau set up to deal with nerds just like you. Now.
That was me, so I thought I'd be a pretty good geek in this show too.
Our theatrical backgrounds are kind of interesting. I mean, I've never done much straight theater. My performance background is in what is now called performance art. I was doing that when I was 7, and it was called experimental theater, and that's what I'm used to. So I mean, I guess that helps in playing Arthur, but it doesn't help in much else.
You must be on the end of this one somewhere. Who? You, because I went on the first day. I was like the first one to get up there and say, "Hi, I'm Rob."
My name is Rob Wheeler. I'm from Austin, Texas. I'm
I might end up a communications major also. I don't really know what part I'm interested in. I'm more interested in just helping with the production than being an actor, but I wouldn't mind being an actor, I guess.
All right, I'm Forrest Gottschalk. I'm from Philadelphia. I now live in Lathrop, American Indian Theme House. I would very much like to be Arthur, to be honest. Very much.
Honestly, what you wrote? A play?
Yeah, I wrote a play once.
So, I mean, what else do you want to know? I mean, where should I go?
Where should you go with this?
Give me direction.
I tend to talk too much when I'm nervous. Like, if I start, like, getting hyper and rambling, just, like, cool me down.
This sounds really bad, but it's really a nice town. When there was a murder.
Which camera are you using?
How come you don't use that camera?
Have anything to ask me? Tell me.
Is there nudity?
Anything you want, Mr.
Brokow? Well, say your name, first of all.
Okay, my name is Shirley Rhines.
My name is Kara Henderson, and I'm a freshman. I live in Otero and Wilbur Hall.
Tell us about your mother.
Life with my mother could be difficult. There were 43 of us, and sometimes when there wasn't enough food, she'd just cut one of us up.
Aww.
Okay, I'm sorry. It was the first thing that came to mind.
You have an amazingly empty schedule. How do you manage that?
Classes-wise, or like?
Yeah.
Well, it isn't. It's, oh God, no, I forgot.
Hey, what are you going to be for Halloween?
I don't know. A lot of people from my dorm are going as Oreo cookies. So I might be a part of that. I don't know.
That's not a racial comment by any
Excuse me?
chance.
I'm not sure. I really like acting on stage because you get the reaction of the people and you know how you're doing. But film should be fun.
So you've done acting before, mostly stage stuff?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah. I was Prospero in The Tempest and King Lear and King Lear. And I don't know. Those were my big acting parts.
I'm still scared out of my pants.
Jesus, Ed, get a grip.
Yeah, get a grip on myself. Hey, if I had a clone, we could get a grip on each other.
So few people yet realize that they are a threat to our very freedom. The freedom to bike, or even to shuffle our feet when and where we will.
I say no! Join us now as we take this hammer and crowbar and strike the first blow in the name of freedom!
I say no! Join us now as we take this hammer and crowbar and strike the first blow in the name of freedom! The end.
Now he was a journalist who constantly believed that the most interesting things happened when no one was looking. Worst thing about it was, no one could prove him wrong.
I originally cast Rob as
Ed.
Right, of course. It only figures. They're aliens, they want human bodies. X equals Y. They be, therefore they clone.
Jesus, Ed, get a grip.
Yeah, get a grip on myself. Hey, if I had a clone, we could get a grip on each other.
Look, Ed, I'm not suggesting that we let them clone us.
Well, then what are you suggesting?
Shh. The walls have ears. Let's go.
And it's funny when I think about it now, looking at Jason, it's like no one else could be Ed. Rob couldn't be Ed. Rob and Noel, it doesn't work. It's not a combination. I never imagined that. But then I looked at the screen test again, and I saw Jason's screen test, and I was surprised that I even cast him.
Do you want to sleep with me then?
What?
Well, all the guys said that if I didn't go to bed with you tonight, I'd never know what I was missing. Who told you it was my first date?
Well, you got the part.
I thought Tad was so good when he auditioned for this. I thought Tad was so totally good.
Well, I'm not sure. No.
I guess he just didn't fit a part.
I'm not arrogant.
No. Oh, yeah. Hey, did you screen
The
test
freedom
with
to
the
bike,
Just
or even to shuffle, if we can be told where to go, if we can be told where to bike,
when he was deciding in the
how
park, he
long
was deciding
will it
between
be
me
before
and
we
this
are
other
told
girl,
what to think?
who I think he said her name was just.
Can I do this?
Well, no, the worst, like, you remember that. I can't remember when it was. I'm sure it had something to do with when I was shooting on the show. The worst day was when I went for like 2 days eating only a box of Pop-Tarts. Oh, I remember that. That was... Oh, and a Coke. I had a Coke and a box of Pop-Tarts. Wasn't it like a cherry Coke or something? Yeah, it was. No, because you start the show, and you have weird scenes to do, like that scene in front of the Daily,
where yeah, all my 2 lines were keys and media, and you don't know. I didn't know how to play the character yet.
How could I have possibly thought I could pull this off? More to the point, it's like, yeah, if I could pull it off properly, it would be great, but how could I possibly think that I could pull it off? Invasion Stanford, tape #1, right here.
I have a clapboard. You want?
Do you have one?
Yeah, I actually do. It's a real cheese.
Slate, or is it a,
Oh no, it's some cheese.
Alien Andy. No, he was tough because I had to walk around all the time kind of scowling and looking mysterious and speaking very slowly.
Action.
We now have... Now, we can begin.
I think a lot of people would have completely fallen apart. I mean, during the first few days of filming, probably. Because I think once you get going, you get into that pace and you just keep going.
This production could have fallen apart at about 50,000 places along the way. Not to exaggerate, 50 at least. I could probably name them to you.
Then he was calling me, wanting to know if I wanted to do this, that, and the third thing. Then he called me to go back, and then he called me to tell me I didn't get that either, and then he called me practically, begging me to do it because he desperately needed someone. And here I was, oh please, we're so desperate, can you help? And I was just like, ugh.
But it never got to the point where I actually hated it. I never actually hated it. I can say that honestly without lying into the camera's face.
Was there ever a time when it seemed like the show would just never get done?
He did thank everybody who worked on it. I mean, obviously he couldn't have done it completely by himself, but the thing is, he didn't have that much of a crew. It was mostly just him and me.
Definitely we needed more people on the crew. It was absurd when he was trying to balance the boom and recycling boxes and set up the lights and do all that by himself, and it just slowed things down and it made the set more stressful.
Several times when Matt got really, really upset over something and he slammed the microphone down on the ground, we're all like, don't talk, don't say anything, just let him calm down.
Well, I mean, Matt doesn't have great personal relationship skills. I mean, some people don't. It's not his fault. So we just learned to cover for it.
That made it difficult at times. I became the public relations man on the set. If we needed people to move, sometimes Matt wasn't quite as effective at doing it nicely or yell at people because he was really frustrated.
I wish you hadn't done that right at the end of their line so we can have a little silence.
It was easier for me to see that these people really didn't understand that they were even in the way. And so I would go ask them politely, oh, we're doing this show, could you please, walk down the hall quietly or something like that.
I think he did try to do too much, but the fact that he succeeded, and he succeeded so well, it's just, all the more praise. I mean, we're heaping it up.
There were sometimes, especially when I would show up at a certain time when Matt would want me to be there, and then I would get there and we would be about an hour and a half behind, and then I would sit there and Matt would say, well, why don't you go home, come back in an hour. I'd come back in an hour, they still wouldn't be done, and then they'd say, well, we're going to break for dinner. Oh, screw it, we'll just do it tomorrow. And when stuff like that would happen, that was really frustrating. It seemed like I was going to be filming forever.
You were just ignoring the possibility that you would
That would what?
That you would have to bail out. You didn't want to admit that you had taken on too much.
Oh yeah, probably.
I really admire the work that you put into it. I mean, it was an incredible amount of work. All the organization, having to film everything, having to put up with the actors, the weather, people walking by.
Action. Okay.
Take 2.
Because in this kind of field, you either have to love it or you're not going to survive. I mean, it's very, very hard.
Slate it. 11A, take 3.
I like them better now that it's done.
What do you mean by that?
Well, back then I had my days when I felt like quitting.
Sometimes it would really get to me. I mean, I would be standing there either with the microphone boom or with the camera saying, hurry up, I don't want to take 47, I want to just take 2 and that's it, and get out of here.
A lot of times it was fun, but sometimes it was frustrating. We would just film again and again, and by the time as time went on, I was doing it more and more and getting more and more frustrated, and the quality of what I was doing went down. So sometimes it was very frustrating and time-consuming, but overall I'd say it was a lot of fun. The people in it were really fun.
Yeah, it's always like, ooh, what happened to that something?
Don't measure your head for a crown yet, Rich. Look! I don't see anything, but look.
I'm looking.
I don't know. Stop.
Do you get a lot of recognition out of this? I mean, do people stop you and say, hey, aren't you in that Invasion Stanford thing?
I've had 2 people say that to me.
People would think I was like so bizarre if I walked around in character.
Road reflectors, they're dangerous. You must listen to me. Dude, you're filming?
Yes.
Are we gonna like add this into the tape? Why are the road reflectors so dangerous? Yet they're so small. Are you listening?
No, although we did have fun in White Plaza one day, running around in character, handing out flyers. For the one guy actually came up and was going, wait, what does this mean? I'm like, it's a TV show. It's a joke. It's okay. He's like, so it's supposed to be funny. Shut up. I didn't say this to him. I was like, go away. We only have 10 minutes of battery we can film with, and you're wasting it.
I had a lot of fun. It took a lot of time, I remember that, but it was cold and rainy.
Is that basically what it was like filming in Lake Log?
Cold and rainy?
I remember this one night at Lake Log. I don't think did we come at midnight or we didn't get back to it?
We came at like right around midnight. It was freezing out.
And we had to film this like at night at Lake Log.
Because during the show it's supposed to be the end of fall quarter. So we were filming them in the winter, and particularly the scenes for episode 4, at the very end, spaceship scenes and all that stuff. We were filming them at night, and it got really cold.
It was really muddy. In fact, in the last scene, I mean, I think I look kind of stupid going down the hill because I'm kind of like, trying to balance myself, but it was really muddy.
And then the lake was always just a little bit wet. And so you walk around, and as you walk through the mud, your shoes would pick up this layer of mud on the bottom. With every step you took, you'd peel off that top layer of dirt, which was about this thick, and you would get taller and taller with every step you took till you were walking around on a little column of dirt about this high.
In fact, one time I fell, but miraculously, I was wearing all white. None of my clothes got muddy, but I fell.
And it was like the most dreadful filming I think ever because I was freezing, I was tired, I didn't want to be there, but
That was what I did dislike the most. Well, wait, here, tell me a sec. See, what I hated most about the Lake Log stuff, or basically, helping out with the actual production in general, was that, we'd film in Lake Log and we'd hold an SD, and then everyone would cut out, except like James and you and me.
Yeah.
And we'd have to bring all of the equipment back, the extension cords, the lights, the cameras, the everything back, and then it would be not only wet, but muddy. So we'd have to, take wet paper towels and sponge them all off so they'd be clean. Then we'd have to take dry paper towels. That would take 2 hours in itself. Then I'd want to stay around and watch like the footage to see how it looked, because I was the only one who cared. That would take another hour, and it'd be 3, 4 a.m. and we'd be cold and wet and tired. And but I did it of my own volition, so I couldn't complain. I didn't have to. I could have cut out like Jason and Jessica. And I could have just split, say thanks, but I wanted to see the footage, but you wouldn't let me see the footage until we cleaned everything. That drove me bananas. I got so tired of cleaning those wires.
Damn, man, this is
just to see the footage, just to see us, ready, Rich. Well, that's all.
We can begin.
I had to complain about it. I mean, the point where I really considered that the whole thing was just like abandoning it. I mean, the only time I really bordered on just saying we can't do it.
No, there was one time in spring quarter when we got kicked out of Phase On.
Is when we got kicked out of Phase On. Tell us what happened, if you can.
Well, what happened was we went into the wrong room by accident. Nobody caught the mistake. The door was open, so we just walked in. We figured that the owners had, said, okay, well, the XTB people are coming over, so we'll leave the door unlocked. Carol came upstairs, very visibly very upset.
she thought we had just walked along the hallways checking doors so we found an open one, because Matt had asked her to let him into one of the other rooms that we were using for the shot, and she had said no. Then Elliot came upstairs and demanded that we leave, and well, I thought that, well, I'm not going to get into that. Yes, I will.
Go ahead.
Apparently Elliot and Matt had a history, and I think Elliot made a personal decision when he threw Matt out, because the exact words were, "You must leave the dorm," he said to Matt.
I mean, that really almost just ground the whole thing to a halt right there.
And I thought that NRA should not have let his personal feelings enter into something of that nature.
Because, I mean, that was a huge shooting weekend, and we needed to finish everything in the dorm hallways, basically. And if I didn't do that, then it kept throwing the other, like we were in somebody's room the following weekend, and somebody else's room, and in the lounge the next weekend. And everything was scheduled, and that just really shot the schedule to hell.
How long did it take to actually do that ship? Make the ship? Like 3 weeks of solid work, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. I don't know, it took a whole summer to get it all together.
As you can see, it's just a sort of foam insulation spray, and then I've stuck model parts in it, and I painted it, and now it looks fabulous. Well, it will on video. It doesn't now.
Special effect is wonderful, but it's so far beyond what we scripted. The spaceship was literally supposed to be a cheap flying saucer made of 2 plates hanging outside of the guy's windows. Originally, the show was never meant to have anything as technically complex as this kind of special effect.
Like squeeze it and it like shoots out hot glue or something?
Yeah.
Ew. It's like burning the foam. I'm like, here, hold this. And here. I decided the 7-sided design would be best because 6 sides was too few. 8 sides was too many. Besides, odd numbers are cooler, don't you think? Wish I had my notebooks full of the complex math I did to compute all these triangles so that when I put them all next to each other, they would make an even septagon, but not just an even septagon that would be concave. Now we need to stick this in. Look at the clever detail. This is that small one I made. It is now serving as this.
Definitely the strong shadows.
Strong shadows, yeah.
Really enhance the effect.
A toothpick on every corner. A chicken in every pot. Pot in every chicken. It worked perfectly. It's amazing. They must have run out.
No, it's the shots where I'm like...
Oh. Is it strong enough to like lift it? Look. Whoa. I want to like loop it around and then over and then...
Maximum.
Okay, we're gonna...
Yeah, would you like me to help you with that, or would you just film you doing it? Sort of a sadistic thing.
Yeah.
Hey! That's great. Spiky things. Okay.
I'm probably gonna need another hand.
Okay. I'll stop then. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Stop. Getting all this miraculous footage. Although this shot is really cool.
Pretend like
The idea
Cool.
is using the end on.
Well, it looks really cool like this with it spinning.
God, that's amazing.
That doesn't look so bad. I mean, it's obviously
That's amazing. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's just amazing. I don't know.
Are you impressed by your own genius now?
I'm impressed. We matched the lighting for a long time.
It took a long time. And it came out looking better than I thought it might. In fact, it looks kind of cool. I've been complimented on it, which is nice.
Have you ever had the feeling that your life was going to turn around? That everything was suddenly going to change? Only to have your dreams shattered in front of your eyes?
As a matter of fact, yes.
Line and typing.
Yep. Amazing how you can play with some small piece of
garbage until you totally mutilate it and destroy it.
I wrote the film, I shot the film, I edited the film.
Editing, my god, that took him hours, days, months, years, millennia.
It certainly was a trip to see that episode finally. I mean, first and last things I did with this show were in that episode. I mean, the very first scene I did was when I was going up to Lagunitas Court, and I reached for the doorknob and it's not there.
It's a door. Not a door.
I did that a little over a year ago now, I guess, because it was early winter quarter. The very last thing I did just last night is that little dubbing over of the counting of the steps as I'm walking up to Lake Log, which happens in the show 3 minutes later.
That's
There's
amazing.
a year difference.
About a year later. No, it's over. No, less than a year. But almost a year. Like 11 months later. And you can't tell because James's voice didn't change in between. Thank God. He'd already reached puberty. We didn't have to deal with. The hormone treatments hadn't quite set in. I don't know.
I think we ought to try it again and
More reverb?
More
reverb and more bass.
more
I don't know how we
treble.
can. Yeah, how can we get more bass? Because we've cranked the bass up all the way. Do we have a clock in here? I could keep cutting away to a clock. The final night.
It's 4 a.m. on March 4th, 1991. This is the date that episode 4 is supposed to air in about 4 plus 4 is 16 hours. There's still music to lay in and Foley work to be done, and Forrest, who is nowhere to be found, he has to do some extra dubbing. And there's just so much to be done, and it's the last minute, and it almost makes sense to us at this point. It's like, should we try to do it by tomorrow night, or should we admit that we'll have to shoot for Thursday instead? Because we're gonna have to do it Thursday if we don't do it tomorrow. Will that be much better? Will that just be transferring all our troubles from tonight to Wednesday night? And they'll be the same troubles, and we'll still have the same lack of time. And we won't have particularly any more sleep, or particularly any less to do. I don't know. I don't know whether we should go for it. I mean, what do you think? I'm talking to them here. I don't know. I don't know either. But that's our situation. I guess only history will tell whether we got it done Monday or Thursday. Is it 4 a.m. yet?
Yes.
Yes, it's 4 a.m.
Andy, do you ever regret leaving Stanford? Are you kidding? Who needs school when you're rich?
Jake. There you are.
Hi.
Are we still going to Flex tonight?
Sure. I mean, of course.
Great. I'll see you later. I gotta go to the library.
I mean, of course.
Great. I gotta go to the library now. See you later. I gotta go to the library now. I'll see you later. Bye. I'll see you later. Bye.
I myself feel a profound sense of missed opportunity.